Hey, you spicy strangers, welcome back to another video. It's me, Jack, your cheap boy toy from down under. That's some good old tea. Welcome once again for some more daily stories from the internet. Here is the list as always. And as always, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like. And if you'd like to see more regular content, be sure to subscribe for more up-to-date goodies. But enough of my face, let's get on to this rip of tea. First story's a throwaway. Am I the a-hole for accidentally giving my mother-in-law shroom chocolate? I feel like you should be quoting the accidentally here more than anything. Okay, I will try and keep this short, TLDR at the bottom. I'm a 29-year-old female, and my wife, 30-year-old female, stayed with a friend for a couple of days, and she had a decently large supply of shroom chocolate. I don't do psychedelics often, but I took her up on the offer of taking a bar with me when we left. The chocolate was in a Lindt candy bar wrapper and label. Truly, it looks like a large Lindt candy bar and nothing else. I put the bar in my toiletry bag for safekeeping. On the return trip from our visit, we stopped and stayed with my in-laws. We were using the downstairs bathroom that I didn't think mother-in-law, who's 60-year-old female, and father-in-law, who's also 60, used at all, as their personal bathroom is equidistant from the common spaces. I kept my toiletry bag on the counter with my wife's. 2 days ago, mother-in-law used the bathroom, and while in there, she saw that she thought was a delicious Lindt chocolate bar poking out of my toiletry bag. Unable to resist, she ate about 1/4 or 1/3 of the bar, correctly thinking I wouldn't mind if it was my chocolate, as I am always willing to share. 1/3 of the bar is certainly enough to trip. Not trip balls, but trip pretty hard. Mother-in-law has a panic attack on the come-up, has no idea what was happening, and thought she was having a heart attack. She calls an ambulance, and while the rest of us are out of the house, and checks herself into the hospital. Eventually, after much panic and drama and fear, we figure out what has happened. Mother-in-law is rattled, having never done drugs, but physically is fine. Now my wife, my mother-in-law, and father-in-law are ticked off at me. Even my wife's sister called to tell me I was an a-hole for giving her mother shrooms. Obviously, I felt awful for what happened and profusely apologized, but I also feel like maybe I'm not the a-hole. Mother-in-law had to go digging into my personal bag and ate the chocolate without asking. While it may have been showing a tiny bit, I get the feeling she was snooping in my personals out of curiosity. I feel bad it happened, but she's all right now, and I think it's a good lesson to not take something that isn't yours without asking. I'll probably let this blow over and not fight them on it, but Reddit, for my own peace of mind, am I the a-hole? Alright folks, let's be honest about this. Clearly they have bad blood with their in-laws, but also needed to make the insurance claim look like an accident. Personally, I would have used something a bit more toxic in nature, but hey, look, Vladimir Putin would be proud nonetheless. Nata, what if it had been chocolate laxatives? She poops and blames you for her theft? The sad part is I think we all genuinely know someone who would pull that. Nata, I'm not a fan of drugs, but your mother-in-law brought this on herself. She poked around in your bag without asking, took something of yours without asking, and ate it without asking. All in all, your mother-in-law invaded your privacy, stole from you, and then blamed you for the consequences. Some thoughts on the other side of the fence though. Everyone sucks here. She shouldn't have gone through your things and stolen, but you shouldn't have brought illegal drugs into her house without her consent. I have nothing against psychedelics personally, but you had no right to do that, and to be honest, I think that's a bigger violation than her eating your chocolate. I can't imagine how terrifying it'd be to take a massive dose of shrooms as an old person who's never done them and have no idea what's happening. You both suck, but you suck more. Okay, but 2 big assumptions made with this comment. Firstly, who are you to say that she's definitely never done drugs before? You don't know Granny's past. Maybe she was a huge pimp before you knew her. Maybe she ran the biggest drug cartel in town and you just never knew about it. This whole panic attack of hers could have just been staged to make her seem more innocent than she actually is. But to actually be serious with the other point, I think it's clear from the fact they were just stopping by at the in-laws' house on their way back home that there was no intention to consume the drug in the household. The chocolate was merely in there just for storage purposes. It wasn't in there so that she could easily take it out and grab a little bite to eat throughout the whole time she's there. And unless the OP gives absolute no care towards her in-laws' impression of her, I'm sure she wouldn't want to eat or consume drugs in that household. I mean, come on, let's apply a bit of common sense here. How far do you want to take this law of violation exactly? You know what else they could be doing? They could be sharing a bed together. And they could be slightly naked in that bed together. Oh, they could be touching their naked bodies together in that woman's household. Oh, that is so rude. Next story by likely another throwaway. Am I the a-hole for purposely choosing decorations to exclude my autistic brother? Okay, this whole story happened 1 year ago. I am 17 now. Back when I was a 16-year-old female, my brother Jerry, 17 at the time, was diagnosed with autism. Other than the occasional meltdowns and a few irrational rituals, he isn't that bad. He is a little on the bulk side, so he intimidates a lot of my friends. He is very sensitive about noises and bright colors. Naturally, I never had a birthday party at home. We either go for a lunch or dinner with my parents and friends and cut a cake, but I have never had a birthday where I actually had a party. For my 16th birthday, I begged my parents to let me have a party at home. They kept refusing, but in the end, they agreed as long as I let my brother attend. As I mentioned, he intimidates my friends. It's not his fault, but he does. It was very likely that no one would be comfortable with him there. At first, I tried to explain, but they weren't listening to me. Finally, I told my parents that I will let him stay for the party as long as I can pick out everything for the party. Geez, how were the parents not suspicious of that request? I ended up choosing a bright theme and loud music. My parents were mad as hell, and in the end, my brother didn't attend the party. The next day, I found out that he had a huge meltdown, and my parents spent the whole time trying to calm him. The party was in the backyard, and they were inside the house. As a punishment, my parents told me that I wouldn't be celebrating my birthday for the next 2 years. I just said whatever and moved on. My birthday was last week, and true to their word, we didn't have any sort of celebration. They didn't even wish me and told me that they would take away any gifts I received from friends or other family members. Okay, look, I get that what I did was mean, but that was only because they refused to compromise. I feel they are going overboard, trying to make me feel unwanted, and if this is how they behave, I would rather never talk to them again. I told them the same, and they think I am overreacting, not being sympathetic, and that I am being a spoiled brat. So am I the a-hole? For what you did? Yeah, of course you are. You knew what you were going to get your brother into, and you did it regardless. But I also think the parents absolutely banning you from future birthdays, not at least just, being extremely restricting on what you can do, yeah, okay, that's a bit too far. Especially with confiscating whatever gifts your friends get you. No, they don't have the right to do that. That's just getting to levels of pettiness that is so unnecessary. Not the a-hole. You are allowed to have a birthday party that doesn't include siblings. I never went to a friend's birthday party where siblings were there unless they were twins. One of them could have taken him somewhere and done something he liked while you had your party. Yeah, you know what, that is a good point. I mean, look, I can sympathize with the idea that after so many years of not getting to have an actual genuine birthday party, that you become a bit rebellious towards your parents' requests. And if your parents weren't just trying to find the easiest option to this situation rather than actually making the effort to, give you the chance to enjoy this kind of birthday experience, then they should make the effort to get off their asses at least once a year to take their kid out somewhere while the other kid can actually enjoy growing up. You are the a-hole. Look, I get it. Life sucks when you have a sibling with disabilities. I know, I grew up with a sibling with a disability. Still, your parents will be taking care of your brother until they die, in the home they paid for, the home you wanted to use for a party, which I assume they also paid for. The one rule they gave you was to invite your brother, who I am sure would want to attend a party, something he doesn't get to do often according to you, and instead of just dealing with that one rule, you decide to be an a-hole. 2 years without a party seems like a small price to pay for the hell you put your parents through. I work with individuals with autism. It is a nightmare calming them down, and your parents had to do it for the length of a party. It was selfish and childish, and they are just returning the favor. Nah, everyone sucks here except your brother. You suck for weaponizing his disability against him. Your parents suck for taking away any gift you might get for your birthday. But I think you not getting a party was just desserts. Play terrible games, win terrible prizes. Good counterpoint here though. No. Bright colors and loud music are to be expected at a party, and Opie warned them beforehand. It is on the brother to deal with it. It was one day. The parents and brother could have gone out for a family dinner at a restaurant and went to the movies, or some other activity like a long walk in the park. Alternatively, the parents could have said the party had to start somewhere in the midday and end earlier than usually expected, so the trio could be outside going to regular hour facilities like a pool, a library, perhaps a picnic, and be home at the normal hour the brother would be while OP had her party. She didn't weaponize anything. She had permission to do what she wanted, and the parents should have had the grace and foresight to just not be present for a while if the meltdowns were so easily anticipated. The brother sounds seriously pampered. The only point here I'll kind of go against is the fact that it's all on the brother to be sorting this stuff out. Like, to be fair, the brother is a teenager as well. A teenager with autism. I mean, I don't know about you, but my teenage years, my hormones were going crazy. I didn't know what the hell I was doing with my life or how to really understand things properly. I don't have any mental disabilities, but my mental health was just out of whack growing up, so I could only imagine how confusing it could be for someone with autism. If he was in his mid-20s or even older than that, then sure, I can understand that it comes to a point where you need to have developed some sort of self-responsibility, again, depending on where you are on the spectrum. But other than that, though, I can actually agree to this. If it weren't for the fact that she was purposely choosing bright colors and loud music. I mean, again, people, she was purposely choosing these things to exclude the brother, to push him away. It's one thing to be someone who genuinely enjoys bright colors and likes to have loud music. It's another to only mention choosing those things because your brother hates them and has meltdowns because of them. Next story by Arbon Still. Am I the a-hole for exposing my sister-in-law? So I live in Australia, and my state has been going well with COVID, so my husband and I decided to go and visit my parents who live a few hours away. We were going to stay for about a week with my parents and family, so we would need someone to look after our pets while we were gone. We originally were going to have one of my friends that lives closer, but my sister-in-law offered to. She loves our dogs and insisted, even though she doesn't live very close. She doesn't have a car, so my husband said he would leave his car for her to drive around so that she could get to ours easier without needing to take several buses. We told her she could hang around during the day if she wanted as well. For context, my husband and I live in a beachside house with a large pool and it's summer here. We only asked that she not leave any mess and not bring anyone else around. Well, we go away and all seems well. Sister-in-law sends photos of our dogs and cats almost every day. A few days after we get back, however, I notice a lot of confetti while gardening and will become a little suspicious, but don't really have anything to accuse her of. That is, until one of my friends sends me a photo of a party that took place in my backyard. Sister-in-law sells Arbonne and threw a party for her team while we were away. My friend did some stalking and found a second account sister-in-law has that's dedicated to her Arbonne scam. The account is full of photos of her in my house acting like it's hers, driving around in my husband's cars, taking pictures in my jewelry. These photos go back a while as well. It's not just my life she's pretending to live. She'll post photos my other sister-in-law took on holidays and caption them, "Places Arbonne takes you," and things along those lines. I was so angry she'd 1. Have a party in my home, and 2. Lie to recruit people to her pyramid scheme. I made a post on Facebook tagging the sister-in-law's Arbonne account and just exposed the fact that she has been lying. Based on the comments, her Arbonne friends were not happy. Sister-in-law is furious with me, telling me if I had an issue, I should have confronted her directly. My husband is also annoyed at her, but also thinks I should have handled it better. Most of my friends seem to agree. The way I see it is that you shouldn't tell lies of you don't want to get caught, but I don't know, maybe I am being petty. Am I the a-hole? Okay, if she wanted to use your home for parties during a pandemic, she should have asked you directly. She tried to sneak around and got caught. Not the a-hole for exposing her. I care less about the lies. I mean, that's just how these pyramid schemes get people. Still terrible, but in my opinion, less so than the party. Now, as someone who lives on Kangaroo Island, I can vouch for the fact that the pandemic here is actually under pretty good control compared to the rest of the world. Aside from 1.5 states here, we actually are pretty comfortable to be having small parties, assuming it isn't more than, 12 to 20 people. Definitely a privileged position to be in this current state of the world. Everyone sucks here. Your husband is right. You should have handled it better. What your sister-in-law did was wrong. However, you should have talked to her first and asked her to remove the pictures. Only if she had refused should you have taken the action you did take. Not the a-hole. Tell sister-in-law you directly told her not to bring people to your home. She didn't confront you and say she would anyway, so she doesn't get to talk about being direct. Why does anyone expect you to cater to her feelings while she has no respect for your feelings or your property? The audacity of her going through your belongings to find and wear your jewelry, my god. She doesn't even get to pretend to be offended that you publicly outed her for her devious behavior. If anyone disagrees with how you handled it, ask them how they would feel about her creeping around in their possessions. Ask husband what would have been better. Sister-in-law doesn't get to be furious, and I would refuse to have her in my home again. I'm gonna say you are the a-hole, mainly because you had a great opportunity to blackmail your sister-in-law here, but you just chose to lose it instead. You could have easily charged her for some sort of commission fees regarding to her hiring your space for her promoting of business. And if she refused, well, whoopsie-doo, I'm just gonna leak all these images onto the internet and tag all your friends. Of course, it would be absolutely scummy, but hey, it wouldn't be any less scummy than what she's doing with her job. And okay, if you have friends that react negatively to you calling out people who are scamming others of their livelihoods, you need better friends. Well, my oh my, that was an entertaining read of stories today. I hope you enjoyed yourself as much as I did. Genuinely, thank you so much for being this far in the video. It shows to me that you enjoyed yourself, or you've forgotten to click somewhere else. Please don't do that. Listen, if you did enjoy today's video, please give it a like to support the channel, or leave a comment as well. Either one of those is fine. And if you haven't subscribed yet, come on. It doesn't cost you anything, and you can just unsubscribe if you're done with my face. But anyway, nothing else to say other than, once again, thank you. I love your face, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. My name's been Jack. Bye-bye. Whee!